Hello and welcome back to Learn Synthesis with VCV Rack. I'm your host, Dr. Lawrence W. Moore, and this is episode 1 of Series 2. If you haven't seen Series 1, please check it out. It's a series where you learn the art of synthesis, starting with the fundamentals. At the same time, you learn the virtual Eurorack modeling software, VCV Rack. VCV Rack is free software with a premium version with extra modules and features. But with the free version, as we've been seeing, it comes packed with all sorts of options, and there's a wide variety of modules by different developers that are out there, and many of them are free. In this Series 2, we're going to be going through some of these other modules. In Series 1, we largely kept ourselves to the VCV brand, as they call it, of modules. But there is another brand called Befaco, which we'll be looking at for 1, 2, possibly 3 episodes at the beginning of this series to see what modules are in it. And the modules I'll be showing are all free, and so therefore you could download them and add them to your Eurorack. It's best to do that once you get to know them, so this series should help you out with that. So in any case, away we go. Okay, in this episode, I am going to focus on a few of the modules. What I have here is, of course, from VCV, the MIDI in, the audio out, and its mixer to mix together 3 different oscillators that we're going to listen to. One is the VCV standard VCO that we've been using a lot. And then there are 2 VCOs, VCO and Pony VCO from Befaco, that we're going to listen to now and see if we can kind of hear some of the differences. To start, I have the mixer channel 1 up, so we're going to be hearing the sine wave on the VCV VCO, the one we've been using. Sounds like this. Now, while I hold this down, I'm going to fade it out, if I can get any accuracy with my mouse. And I'm going to put in the VCO from Befaco. Okay, I'm going to release the note. First thing we notice, we're in a different octave. Now, let's take a look at this here. I did not change the tuning of the VCV VCO at all. And I didn't change the tuning of the octave on the Befaco oscillator either. But it's on 1 here. Here's 2. And this will put us in the same octave as the VCV VCO. We are coming out the sine out, and right away I can hear definitely some higher frequencies in there. So there is a bit of a higher frequency shine on it. Now remember, all these models are modeling Eurorack modules. So it was obviously an intentional decision to make this have a little more brightness than your standard sine wave would have. And when we tested this VCO with VCV's own wavetable VCO, we could hear that this one actually has a little more higher frequency residue in it than the wavetable VCO. So this is actually comparatively quite bright. So let's look at some of the features. Here's our volts per octave in. This It doesn't have a label on it, but when you hover over it, you can see what it does. It looks like, let me zoom in a little bit here because the print's small. That is pitch 1 input. Well, I thought that's what this was. So there are two. Sorry, I'm surprised here a bit. Now I'm wondering, can you actually have two? I really can't execute another note that easily. I saw V octave, so I just kind of plugged in right here. We do have a fine tune. Which you can initialize back to normal. Here's its frequency modulation input. And it also has in sync in as well. We haven't worked with that yet. That'll be something coming up. It has pulse width modulation. Now, as it says here, pulse width modulation input. Obviously, that will only work if you're on square wave. We'll be comparing those in a moment. But let's go first to the Pony VCO. Once again, here's its octave selector. Now that sounds much more like a warmer sine tone. So we're getting a warmer sine tone there. And up here, you know, here's the octave. So up here is more of a fine tune. Although it's not very fine now, is it? It's wide ranging. And you can reinitialize, and when I click on it, it's giving me values of like 0. It's not 2,160. Oh boy. No, 261.63, which was the middle C frequency that this VCO goes with. One of the things that I think is, like, if you look down here, you see how some of the labels are being cut off? I had opened up VCV Rack, the first edition, and that was before VCV Rack 2, and these labels weren't being cut off. I think these are modules from VCV Rack 1. Well, in fact, I know they've been around then, but I don't think they've been updated, so maybe they are in a different like standard than VCV Rack. But, you know, if just shifting this down an octave is all you got to do, that isn't so much of a problem. And here you can set frequency quite freely. Here is timbre, as it's called, but this is really pulse width modulation. Unsine. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, when you're on square, it does sound like pulse width modulation, but when you're on sine, you do get something. Because right now I am outputting as a sine, and basically you can select your waveforms here just by clicking on it, and it'll cycle through. And we are on the first one, which is sine wave. It has an FM input. It has a timbre input, so you can modulate this timbre. It has a sync input. and it has a VCA input. So you could hook up an ADSR. This ADSR is from Befaco. Decided to pull that out just to show it. But you could hook that up directly, or if we want velocity response, since we do have an envelope hooked up to the overall mixer here, we can basically get like velocity control over its level straight through the oscillator. I like that. So far, I've been really liking this oscillator. In fact, toward the end of the episode, we're going to play with it a bit more. Now, here is an ADSR from Befaco. So you have your attack time, your release time. Let's turn this up. I'm releasing now. Okay, that's still pretty quick. I released, and that's a slow release. But as you see from these gradients here, the more you turn it up, the bigger and bigger difference you're going to get. It's kind of like exponential in its control there. It receives both triggers as well as gate. You have a switch for it here. Right now I'm using gate, so it's MIDI note on and off that are opening and closing the gate. And then of course I have it going to the mixer, so all three of these oscillators can be shaped. Now you also have some gate outputs for attack, decay, sustained, release. So this is almost like when these different segments in the overall envelope are executed, you could have that basically queue up something else to happen, on-off gates, because it does say here that these are ADSR stage output, and I assume that is a gate out, meaning on-off, open, close, as opposed to trigger of when they happen. Although this could go to a trigger as well and pretty much initialize something to happen. And then, of course, you can control the ADSR segments with CV inputs here. In Befaco, the red outlines mean output, and no outline means it's an input. For sustain, be interesting to see, since this is level, what the sustained level of amplitude is in comparison to the attack peak. It'd be interesting to see what that does when it's outputted from here. If anybody knows, let me know in the comment section, but I wasn't, prepared to kind of like set something up to find out. Maybe as I do more explorations later, we'll find out. So anyway, we could hear the comparison of the signs there. How about the triangles? And we are on triangle there. So first the pony. Wow. Now, is this correct? Oh my goodness, no wonder. Yeah. All right, correction. The reason why the sine wave from this VCO was sounding like it had a lot of high frequency content into it is because I was actually hooked up to the triangle. This is the sine up here. So now we're hearing the triangle, which we did hear before, but I was like, wow, they went to town with that sine wave. Okay. Turn it back up. No, it is up. Oh. I somehow disconnected it. Let's go back to the triangle. Yep, not a sine wave. All right, and then we are going to go to the VCV 1, although that sounds pretty. Yeah, if you compare the two, the triangle here is, and it says triangle, so I'm not, no, square. Oh, for crying out loud. Can I get things right? All right. There we go. That's the triangle output. I'm sorry. I mean, up here I do see the labels, but the labels are really meant to be below the thing, and it's thrown off by the fact that the bottom labels don't appear because they're covered up. Well, it's not the first time nor the last time that I do something silly. Okay. What is going on? What am I grabbing here? Okay. We're going to look at the square waves now, which was over here. Then here we just need to that's sawtooth. Okay, it says pulse here, but that would be a square wave. So anyway, what we're hearing now is the VCV VCO, and now we're going to hear the Befaco VCO. Okay. I like the sounds of these Befaco VCOs. Now that one sounds really narrow because we need to use the timbre here. There we go. I'm sorry, I'm not getting the levels the same for each one because I'm not moving the mixer faders right. So this timbre does give us a pulse width modulation. But it gives us an effect on all the waveform types, so that is cool. But if you want a real square wave, you kind of have to have it in the middle, otherwise there you go. That's the result. All right, so let's finally hear the sawtooths. And over here, let's make sure we get the right one. All right, let's hover over it and make sure of what it says first. Sawtooth. We're still hearing the pony. So let's switch the faders here. Incidentally, I am going to show you there are some mixers that come in the Befaco set. The Befaco oscillators do sound warm. This one less so because, at least in the pulse wave, you got to get it just right to get it to sound more like a square. Otherwise, it's more nasally. But it has that added bonus where you can control VCA built in. I dig that. But this one has two pitches here. I'm just wondering how that works. What happens if I hook both of them up to the same thing? I don't think we're going to hear. Well, now we're or sounding down an octave. Sounds like if you have both of them hooked up, you get the correct octave in line with the VCV VCO. Interesting. And there's the VCV. So not... I think we're getting a difference tone between these two pitches. Interesting stuff. All right. So that is something that does warrant more exploration as time goes on. But what I'm going to do now, disconnect this, because I am going to focus on our pony here. This is one that I've played with a bit before recording the episode. So we have velocity affecting its VCA. We have the volts per octave going in. We are on, let's put us on sine, because I'm going to do some frequency modulation. And we have an ADSR here that we're going to use for the overall envelope. Now, instead of doing this mixer here, I'm going to introduce another thing from Befaco that's cool. It has a channel strip. No, well, here it's a 4-channel mixer. One of them does not have a level indicator, it's just maximum level. But there is a 4-channel mixer that is stereo for each channel, or it could be mono. It'll go mono if you just plug one channel into left mono. So that is cool, but there is no control voltage controls for the levels. They're just manually controlled by clicking on them and adjusting them. And yeah, I believe it is called channel strip. I'm not finding it under that search, so let's do mixer. Is this it? Yeah, I believe so. Okay, so now it is stereo, but can be used as mono. And what we're going to do is take our output here, go into left mono input, and we'll take our audio output and move it closer over here. Actually, I'm going to leave some space because I'm going to add some more things in a moment. But there we go. Okay, I don't have the gate. Oh, please. This is the audio input. This is level CV. So we're going to use our gate on that. We are pretty quiet because our level is all the way down here. There is a button here. Now, are we on a sine wave? Doesn't sound like it. It's saying so, but the timbre slider is up. Now, we are getting some artifacts, which we have gotten before, and we know about those. There is a Befaco thing for that. We were using the process module from VCV Rack, but there is a Befaco slew module. And what we can do is take our velocity, go in here, go out from here. This can also work on audio. Okay. There we go. So we were able to get rid of those artifacts there by slewing them with a Befaco slew. This also can do some cool things with waveforms. All right, so we have our velocity control. We have an envelope on it. Decay time quicker. Pretty cool. And now, what we also have is the ability to hook this up stereo to our output. Now that it senses 2 in, it's in stereo mode. And we have a pan control here. And there's a CV in for that, so you can actually control it with some external controllers. In general, this does have a stereo input. And what I'm going to do is test that out, because I actually haven't tested out what pan does when you have stereo coming in. So let's add another pony. Can you type pony and get pony? That's a lot of results now. So let's just go VCO, and it's this one here. Okay, so our stereo, our right output is going to be going in there. Now, what waveform do we have here? Change it. We don't need to be in a different octave like that. We are also going to have its VCA hooked up. To our slew output. Let's see if it lets us. It does. So we can hook the slew output up to 2 things. How come this sounds like it's in a different octave? Visually, the octave slider is set the same. Although this is a triangle wave. And also, it's not being told what pitch to play, volts per octave. There we go. So we have the triangle on the right and the sign on the left. So let's see what happens when we pan now. All right, you just get more of the triangle. So it's a balance to either side. It doesn't go to width or anything like that. There is a mute button. Interesting. And it does it. It works. And then there's a CV control here for amount. That's the amount that the CV pan controls the pan. And how can I miss this? A 3-channel EQ. The sine wave's not going to be affected much by that. But that is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm no longer going to use them this way. Let's disconnect this oscillator for that purpose, because I was able to make a cool sound earlier. All right, let's connect this up to the FM input. So now this is our carrier oscillator. Let's set it to sine. And set our modulating oscillator also to sine. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, let's see here. I'm going to move these over a little bit. And just to differentiate them, this is our main envelope. I'm going to add another ADSR for amplitude modulation, which now we can do. Just turn up its decay portion. We can do this with, we want to send it gate so it knows when the note's been pressed and when it's released. And then we're going to hook it up to the VCA over here. The velocity is already there. We'll go without velocity response on the FM, because to come to think of it, oh, hold on here, green. Come to think of it, this is the carrier oscillator. It's already affected in that regard. The only thing that needs to shape the amplitude or the amount of frequency modulation is our ADSR here. And let's go to polyphonic mode. And I'll put it on, let's say 8-note polyphony. Oh, what happened? Uh-oh. Let's try 4. No. You know what? I have a feeling the Befaco oscillators don't work with Polyphony. Yeah, it's sounding a lot quieter than it was. Let's see here. I don't want to give up on it right away. Try 4-note. Let's try the polyphonic mode. Maybe that affects it. We try reset. No, I am not getting polyphony. I am trying to hold chords down, and I'm only getting 1 note per. Alrighty. It looks like we do not get polyphony with the Befaco set. If anybody would know of a way of how we can, other than arpeggiation, which isn't true polyphony. I like the I do like the sounds of these, though. It's a shame. I'm going to add 2. If we can. They'll give me a chance to show. Another Befaco. Why don't we add 3 of these? Oh, no, not that far. Come on, buddy. Don't do that to me. All right. I'm going to add a mixer from Befaco. Man, I'm feeling disappointed that the polyphony didn't work out. What we need to do is take our output from this one, and it will be channel 3. Looks like it's really 5 channels, but this one is maximum level, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are here. Now these could be CV or audio. I'm going to be using them as CV here. So we're going to measure the contribution of each of these oscillators. See if we can make an interesting sound here. This is going to go into FM. And we're going to add 2 more of the Pony VCOs. Oh, come on. All I need is 1 more. Come on. Can I just click here? No, you got to click each one. Shift click. All right. Come on. There you go. All right. So this one is going to go to channel 2. This one's going to go to channel 3. Now, for this one, do I have volts per octave going in? I do. Yeah, so that way it adjusts whatever frequency is being played. And the frequency I set them to will adjust proportionately. So now what I'm going to do is go one at a time. And we did frequency modulation in the last episode of Series 1. So let's see what we can do with this. I'm going to turn, all right, everything's down. Let's turn number 1 up and try to find a lower portion of the frequency spectrum. Oh, well, first of all, its VCA is not being controlled by the gate here. Does it let me do? Yeah, good. Now, I just thought of something. I thought these were CV as well. Oh, well, first of all, this one is plugged into the right inlet instead of left. There we go. We got it. Now let's see what the timbre does when it's modulating. Let's do a little something. Let's adjust the timbre of the carrier oscillator. Not really all that attractive, no. Now we're adding this one, second one. Let's have these last a little longer here. Let's turn up the decay portion of the envelope. Now let's do the third one. This one I'm going to turn up the frequency higher. Now over here, the overall sound should probably, if I'm wanting it to ring better and not just have this sine tone come out underneath everything. Oh, wait a minute, I'm messing with the EQ. Whoops. Guess we can reinitialize. I'll make sure that one's initialized. All right, so let's just turn down the sustain. Nope, get down. Still trying to make my bell tones here. Let's make this last a little. So yeah, there's some cool stuff happening in Befaco. I prefer the VCV mixer in that it does have CV controls, but anytime you need to mix together some stereo items and set it and forget it, this will work just fine. Anytime you need a little bit of a channel strip for panning, this is great. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it works with Polyphony. Doesn't look like it works with VCV Rack 2 or something like that, that the Polyphony is not there. Let me see. If I right click on it, is there any Polyphony settings in it itself? You don't have to do these with the VCV modules. Hardware compatibility. No, nothing about Polyphony. Yeah, so it does not look like you're able to get Polyphony out of these. Well, there's one way to be absolutely sure. First of all, I'm going to take a screenshot of this for the episode, and then we'll do our last check. So you don't have to. Let's just get rid of this, 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 and basically just have an oscillator, have that control the VCA, take the audio out, put it in here, oscillator, ADSR, keep it real simple. Nope, I'm only getting one note. And we'll just check to make sure that it's not just this VCO. Now this one does not have its VCA in. So for this one, you will need, like, let's try the, what do you call it? The VCV VCA. Come on, let's do it. Just want to be sure. All right. Yep. And then we'll just take any of these. Let's see. I'm playing notes and periodically one comes out. So, nope, it does not happen. Okay, folks, so for monophonic use, arpeggiation and stuff like that, yeah, the Befaco has some cool stuff in it. Next time, since we looked at oscillators, envelopes, and some utilities today, next time we're going to look at mixers, I guess you would say. Next time we're going to look at its noise generator and this thing called kick-all, which is kind of like a percussion sound generator. And there's another percussive module in it. So next time will be percussion and noise. All right, folks, thank you for joining me. If you got any value out of this episode, please hit the like button. Leave a comment if you have questions or you have something to add. Other than that, share, subscribe. I appreciate anything you can do to help this channel grow. Till next time, take care and stay free.